Welcome to this week's Whole Week Costa. This is still at the old studio. It is officially the last one because I have to be out of my apartment by Sunday.
I think we should come in Sunday and broadcast, but
No, I mean it'll be gone by Wednesday.
we could do a live stream
I'm calling
on
out
Sunday.
sick on Wednesday,
Yeah.
so I don't have to use vacation time, so that I can pack everything.
Well, you should say that on the air.
No one listens.
Hopefully that's not the case forever.
Should we start over?
No, I think it's fine. It's fine.
Whatever.
All right.
Well, I have enough sick time, so I'm just gonna do it. So I got to help my brother move, and then he's gonna help me move everything in my studio. Is I've got like one thing outside of the studio.
But where's he moving to?
I don't know.
Am I gonna come home Wednesday afternoon and he's gonna be there?
I just give him your key.
That's what
Yeah.
what my concern.
Oh, beer facts.
Yeah.
Tonight we're drinking Coors Golden banquet beer. The last time I had banquet beer was at a banquet, but not in these awesome little stubby bottles.
Yeah, we basically bought it because we thought the word stubby was funny when we were in the store, and we said it a bunch of times, and then we bought it.
Yeah. You know what? You know what isn't funny though?
What?
The taste of this beer.
See, I like it. So I was looking up some facts about Coors, and won't go through all of them, but a couple interesting things. It's like sort of a big name microbrew, the banquet beer, because the banquet beer is only brewed in like their home original brewery. Like it's not brewed in anywhere else.
What
is
in
interesting.
Golden, Colorado?
Yeah, it's only brewed there, so it's I guess technically like a microbrew sort of setup.
Right. What's it called? I think they brew up enough of it to not be microbrew.
Yeah,
But
it's like the same idea. It's not like there's like places like most other beers. There's like a few places that make it or whatever that are like the big beer companies.
so the first time I went to Colorado, which is easily becoming one of my favorite states. My buddy, Nate from Colorado, he goes, "Hey, you want to go check out the Coors Brewery?" And I go, "No." And so we drive by. It's literally like the Coors Brewery and like a couple other things there, and that's it. That's all it is.
So the other one was, and I think something about the weird spelling on the bottle. I really didn't read it enough to say, but they have the word thoroughly spelled without the U's or GH's or whatever. And apparently, I guess it must have been around the time that the beer was first made. There were a few words in the National Education Association to make English easier to learn and understand. They like got rid of all the extra English letters and shit, and just we're gonna spell thoroughly just THOROLY, like I guess like it's pronounced. And apparently Teddy Roosevelt, the greatest American president, was on board with this. But obviously we don't spell it that way anymore. So I don't know if a future Roosevelt reversed it or
No, probably
It's
like his second cousin or something.
yeah. But anywho, so do you know how Tom Holland, the current iteration of Spider-Man, and really the only true Spider-Man,
Hey,
yeah,
keep going.
trained for his role as Spider-Man?
I'm gonna take a guess.
Yeah.
It's not the way I train for life. Train, drink beer, eat stromboli on Mondays.
That's not the way he trained. The way he trained is that he didn't. He's essentially already Spider-Man. True story. So
So you got me all amped up for something that is just natural.
it's basically no, he's basically legitimately Spider-Man. So apparently in the audition he shows up to the studio to audition. So he's a teenager. So he's the first Spider-Man ever that's like the right age to be Spider-Man.
Oh, not a 30-year-old man.
Yeah. So he's like young enough to legitimately play Spider-Man. He basically does a somersault into the audition. Then he's already an accomplished actor. I think he'd done stage acting already. So he's already an accomplished actor. He's a gymnast. And he does free running, which is basically like the guys that like do somersaults off of buildings onto other buildings. That's what he does in his spare time. And he's also a big MMA fan. So part of his like daily workout routine is like fighting training.
Oh, so he didn't have to do any additional training.
No.
But he already has a pretty tough regimen of training because gymnastics is super tough.
Yeah. So if you look up Tom Holland, there's all these videos of him doing like crazy like backflips over 6 foot tall boxes and shit. Like so if you look up like Spider-Man parkour on YouTube and it's dude dressed as Spider-Man like jumping off skyscrapers, it could be real Spider-Man because he does that in his spare time. So basically he's a freak beast. Like he's the one legitimate superhero of the group.
Yeah.
Is the guy who plays Spider-Man.
He's too good for me.
But so and I'm just thinking too, so eventually if he gets tired of the acting thing, then like MMA fighters might have to fight like one of the Avengers because like that's the other thing he's into.
Yeah,
So,
but excuse me, if he didn't actually start training now,
yeah.
the guy he would have to fight at like 125,
Yeah.
because he'd probably fight at 125,
Yeah.
would smash his face in.
I don't know, he's kind of Spider-Man though.
Yeah, but pound for pound, he's the greatest fighter of all time
Yeah.
at 125 pounds. Mighty Mouse.
Okay. But yeah, I just thought that was awesome. So I'm really curious about the backstory. Oh man, my headphone's going out real bad. I'm gonna wiggle this a little bit.
Yeah, it's because you keep moving your wire around. I can see it from here.
I gotta move.
Yeah, see you moving?
Yeah.
Yeah, your hands and everything.
Okay, I'm good.
All right.
I have one earphone at least.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm really curious about the backstory for some of the, or like the real life of some of the other actors of I don't know. One of the things like we've been talking about at home, just watching all these Marvel movies, is like what, like
you can some of the backstory of some of them.
Yeah.
Like Robert Downey Jr. He's been in the news since the 80s.
Well, that's the other guy I was gonna say. So
the guy Drax Destroyer, he was a professional wrestler.
Yeah.
WWE, and then he did I think one MMA fight and he won.
Okay. Well, so,
and he's a bodybuilder.
So that's what I'm saying. So like the guys I know about, like, because I don't know, I'm trying to think about why these movies have been so successful. We've had so many bad like superhero movies in the past, and the guys that now I know their backstories are basically really their characters. So there's just so much attention to detail. Like, so the guy who plays Spider-Man essentially is Spider-Man. The guy who plays Tony Stark is essentially real life Tony Stark. Like
he's a bachelor. Like he's with women.
Yeah, like I mean, except for like the super intelligence, like Robert Downey Jr. is pretty much Tony Stark. Like personality wise, that's what he is.
Well, you don't know if he's super intelligent.
He could be.
He could be. I don't know. I don't know.
He probably is. He probably had to do a bunch of physics to get the role.
Yeah.
And then yeah. So then the guy that plays Drax the Destroyer basically is Drax the Destroyer. It sounds like in real life.
What's it called? The guy who plays Star-Lord.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's really a douchebag in real life.
Yeah. No, he's like a naturally funny guy, and like that's how he got his role on Parks and Recs, because like that's who he was. Like he just showed up to the audition one day like that.
Yeah.
Like perfect, and like he just got typecast as him.
Yeah.
All the way through.
But yeah, because we, I mean, I sort of like the Marvel movies anyway, and now that Sam's into them, it's pretty much like what we watch all the time. So now I've started like watching videos about the Marvel movies and stuff, and I've kind of become obsessed with, and this might be an old topic for some people, but I've just thinking about it a lot recently, about the sort of like why the MCU is so great and why like the DC extended universe is so terrible, and I feel like I've been watching a lot of stuff about that recently. And I probably gravitated towards videos that agree with what I already was sort of thinking about it a little bit.
The algorithm knows what you want to watch.
Yeah, exactly. But I was just, I don't know. We were talking about it the other day. We watched the first Avengers movie. Now, I didn't watch all these movies when they first came out. I think I saw Iron Man when it came out. And it was a good movie. I liked it, but it wasn't like anything special. And then at least like at that point, I wasn't like super hyped for the future, Avengers movies. But I don't think anybody really was at the time. And then
Tony, I like that Obadiah Stane. He was great.
Yeah.
Jeff Bridges is always amazing and everything.
Yeah. And then I saw the first Avengers movie, but I didn't see like the Thors or anything that like, led up to. So I really had no idea what was going on. Now at this point, like I've seen a couple of the Iron Man, like I actually haven't seen the third Iron Man movie yet. We got to watch that still. I've seen all the Thor movies. I didn't see Age of Ultron. So I'll probably still have more thoughts about all this stuff in future podcasts.
A couple of the movies like Age of Ultron.
Yeah.
Like you watch it and then like the second time you watch it, you're like, Okay, I don't need to watch it anymore.
Yeah.
Like the first time you watch it, like this is awesome. And then the second time you're like, yeah, Ultron's a terrible character.
Yeah, well, I think it's one of the worst rated Marvel movies. It sounds like, but um,
There's good like supporting characters like the guy from Black Panther was that's the first time you see him.
oh
Claw.
really? Okay,
Yeah, you see Claw like and he has all the adamantium or vibranium
yeah,
and like he's pretty cool. And then like you see him again in Black Panther and like he's still pretty cool.
yeah. But it's cool. Like, so we just watched the first Avengers movie with Sam on Friday, and I always like to hear his opinion of like. I always like at the movie like, Sam, what was your favorite part? And his favorite part for the record was when the Hulk smashed Loki, and then he does the whole like, smashing motion.
Oh, that's everyone's favorite
Yeah.
part.
So, but I love how many shits they seem to give about like the people that make the movies seem like they're fans of the movies, and that's like so different. I feel like than a lot of movies you see where it's just like, and especially like comic book movies in the past where like they're just trying to cash in on like, an IP or something like that. I mean, comic book video games and movie video games do it like all the time. They're trying to cash in on an IP and there's like no care or love of the story, like just how detailed everything is, and two, how much they put like how much they care about the continuity. It just is like there's so much respect for the source material, and there's so much respect for the fans too, because like you can kind of tell that they must be fans of it too. You know.
Still my favorite comic book movie, and I haven't read very many of the Blade or they're not Blade comic books. It's like Tales from the Beyond or something
Yeah.
like that. So just vampire stuff, and Blade's the main character.
Yeah.
Then I think they had a couple Blade lines. I'm not sure, but I kind of read them, but they're from like the 70s and 80s, so they're real
Yeah.
cheesy and dated. So I couldn't really read them, but I still think Blade One, the first one, the second one's not bad either. But Blade One is a very good comic book movie, and like people are like,
Yeah.
well, it's not a comic book movie; it's a vampire movie. But it's not the first comic book movie,
Yeah.
but it's like it's the first run. It's one of the first Marvel movies they have because
Yeah.
like you see the Marvel logo in the beginning of it from '98, and then it's X-Men 1, the first X-Men movie. It's a great movie.
Yeah. No, I've seen in my like like last 2 weeks of YouTube research, like have seen Blade credited like a few times as like the first like modern comic movie that like was really successful.
Yeah, you take something that people kind of like. I kind of knew about it, but I was too young to be really into comic books. But I've seen like the Blade comic books, like the old issues, the comic book stores, like
Yeah.
in the like in an omnibus,
Yeah.
like Tales of the Astonishing, like omnibus, like all the different tales. Like I saw it, and I watched the movie, and I had no idea what that was. And then like years later, like I put two and two together. Like if Blade is on TV, I'll still watch it today.
Yeah. See now I went, so I feel like you can't go back. So like I didn't grow up with comic books, and now that like, again, now that like I kind of liked Marvel, and now that Sam's in it, so now I'm like real into it. Like when we were at Comic Con, we bought some like old comic books, and like they were just honestly random ones. So they're probably, I'm sure there's better ones out there, but I didn't find them interesting at all. Like I feel like if you didn't grow up reading comic books, you can't go back and read them. Like it's just not what you're into.
There are some things that got me back in the comic books. Like my friend's brother was like, "You got to read Old Man Logan." So I bought all the issues of Old Man Logan. I bought World War Hulk, and then like World War
Yeah.
Hulk goes off into like these different other stories. So I started, I stopped buying them. I just started downloading them.
Yeah.
So I'm reading like all these comics, and I spent like weeks just getting caught up on these comics. I'm like, oh no, this like I've wasted all my time.
See now, I don't know what the difference is, right? Because as a big Game of Thrones show fan, and I've not been successful at this to this point, but I've always wanted to read the source material. I don't have any interest in the source material for the Marvel stuff. Like for me, like the MCU is the Marvel. That's the Marvel universe for me.
Yeah, and that's fine. That's okay.
Yeah.
But like you could wiki it and see like what the more in depth. You can just
Yeah.
use wiki see what they're all about. Like
Yeah.
read
I do,
every
I do that sometimes.
yeah, they explain every issue like the
Yeah.
characters ever been in. But like you like reading books, right? Or used
Nah,
to?
I'm
No,
not.
never.
I'm not a reader in any way.
Oh, okay. So I like reading books. Like, have you ever played D&D?
Yeah, like a couple times.
Yeah, so I like reading, playing D&D,
Yeah.
and I will play D&D, and I'll tell I'll tell my brother or Rachel, and I'll put like tell so what you do last night D&D, and like the way like I remember books or playing D&D or reading comic books is like you have to have a lot of imagination in doing any of those.
I don't think I have an imagination.
Yeah, see, I think that's your problem.
Yeah.
You have to have a lot of imagination because you get like small tidbits.
Yeah.
But then your imagination places those tidbits together. Like you play D&D, like you imagine what everyone's character looks like off of these small tidbits. Like
Yeah.
as long as the dungeon master is like a good storyteller, you think about your characters like in these like dungeons, these bars, these towns, fighting these creatures that these small tidbits. And then when you're reading a book like one of my favorite writers is Elmore Leonard, right? His because his books are easy to read. They're 230, 260 pages, right? They have detail, but not too much detail, on like Stephen King, which like Elmore Leonard could tell the same story as Stephen King,
Yeah.
but 1,000 less pages. It's
Yeah.
more concise. So you create these characters in your head. You create the towns in your head. He gives you tidbits of, and then you work off your memories, and that's the kind of stuff I like. Like comic books are the same way. Like a comic book, like a whole issue will have 70 panels. But you have 4 days of information in those 70 panels. So from get to A to B, there's so much space that your brain has to create. And that's what I like about them.
So I feel like I don't think something's gonna give me information. I feel like so I mean I feel like I mostly read like nonfiction stuff if I'm gonna read anything, which I rarely read. If I read fiction stuff, it's usually to get some specific thing out of it. Like for me, like I've like thought, like watched so much stuff and watched like analysis videos of it and like thought about like Westeros so much that like it's essentially like a kind of a real place in my head. So I want to read Game of Thrones to find out about the people that I know about. Right. Like not just for the story basically. So I'm not reading it the same way you would read like another just story like fiction book. And I feel like same like I'm really in so I haven't really read anything, but I've listened to a lot of H.P. Lovecraft recently, and it's the same thing. Like I enjoy his whole like mythos, so I'm sort of reading to find out more about his mythos and to like sort of feel like what his stories make you feel. Like I feel like I'm not enjoying them in the same way that like you would like read a
like I would.
Yeah. So
well, here's what I did with all the. Here's what I did. I spent. This is what my computer faced the other way, so no one could sneak up on me at work. Like over 2 years.
Yeah.
I would read all the. Excuse me. I would read all the. Not the Wikipedia pages, but like the. Ice of Song and Fire Wikipedia page, like the Ice of Song and Fire Pedia. I forget what it's called. And you read that, and like every character and every event goes into like great detail, but you don't have to hear the boring dialogue because like the dialogue in those books is like, and you don't have to read all the songs, like which the songs are like a major part of the story. But you can read like
it's right in the title.
Yeah, you can read what the songs actually mean, like what they're standing for, and you can like read about the characters and what happened and all that stuff. And I kind of like that better. And like the dialogue, like what I imagine the dialogue to be, is better than what I tried to read. Like I couldn't get past it. Like it was like J.R.R. Tolkien. Like I just couldn't get past a lot of the stuff. Like how detailed it was. Like I don't need to know about a guy's broken erection. Like I don't want to read about that. But
that's what I do every day.
Yeah.
But
that's nonfiction though. We're talking fiction.
Yeah. But I don't know. I really need someone to make a shorter Lord of the Rings because those movies are so bloated that it's almost like reading the fucking books. Like
abridged Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Oh, read the wiki.
Yeah,
That's
I
what I
guess,
did.
yeah. But yeah, well, yeah. I guess even reading like wanting to read the Song of Ice and Fire stuff for me is partially, that I've listened to so much opinion and like from other people about it that I just kind of want like more information to form my own opinions about it. Is sort of where I'm at with that. I don't know. Like I feel like in within the next few months, I feel like I'm going to have a lot of movie topics. That's sort of what I'm into right now. And I feel like now that I'm listening to a lot of movie critique stuff, now I'm going to want to watch a lot more movies so I can get my own opinions about some of them. It's sort of where I'm at. So this podcast might go like a little bit of a movie direction for a while.
That's fine. I love movies.
Yeah. Yeah, well, exactly. I think that might be more interesting actually for some people. So
Yeah, and I think like like I'll have more to speak about. Like last
yeah,
week, I didn't have much to speak about video games.
yeah. But anyway, back to the Marvel stuff. So I love the continuity between all the movies, and I like that. Like now, I wish I could have gone back and seen them in order, like when they were coming out, because like I just watched Iron Man 2 last night. And the scene at the end where they show like Thor's hammer, like I'm sure there were people like when Iron Man 2 came out, they're like, "Oh, it's fucking Thor!" And we're hype about it in the movies.
Yeah, me.
But like,
Yeah.
but like I already saw Thor, so like I already knew. Like as soon as Agent Coulson said he was going to New Mexico, I was like, "Oh, he's going to do the Thor stuff. That's cool."
Yeah, see, you watch them out of order, so like it's not very surprised. But like when
Yeah.
you watch them, like
Yeah.
when they come out, you're like,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
you see that, and I mean, like I knew it was coming. Like you know what's coming because like now they'll start advertising like 3 movies ahead, and
Yeah.
you're like, no, like they kind of ruin like the movie you're gonna go see. Like they were advertising Black Panther, and they're like, we're doing Spider-Man 2, and then so you go see Infinity War, you're like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, like you scratch
Yeah.
your head, like, oh, so they're coming back,
Yeah.
like it really does kill it for me.
Yeah, I'm really curious about. So I think the title of the next Spider-Man is Spider-Man Far From Home. So I wonder if that like leads to
That's rumored.
I guess true, but I wonder if that really is it. If that lends to the theory that like they just were put somewhere else, and it's going to be like the journey back is going to be part of that story.
So here's what I think Far From Home is. Like
Yeah.
they're just gonna go to like London. Like he's gonna fight shit in London.
I don't think so. I really wonder if it's more of like like an ethereal sort of place, like wherever they were transported by the Soul Stone. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if that plot will be wrapped up by the time the
I
next
think
Avengers
I
movie's
think it
done.
will.
I don't know.
Yeah, Spider-Man comes out after the next
Yeah.
Avengers, so like he'll be back and like he'll be doing stuff and like he'll probably go to Oxford and like
Yeah.
some shit will happen in London and he'll have to fight people in London because it has tall buildings too.
Yeah.
And then someone will be like, "Is that Tom Holland in a Spider-Man suit?" And they're like, "Oh, we're filming a movie because
Yeah.
he's from there."
Yeah.
You know, something like that, something silly. But
So ironically, it won't be Far From Home for him.
yeah,
He's from
yeah,
England.
yeah. So, real quick about the continuity, I like the continuity too, and I like how it's all in the same universe. It's great.
Yeah.
They're building a universe. This is the first time like this has ever been done. Like
Yeah.
20 movies, same universe. What I don't like about it though
Yeah.
is some of the continuity where like they'll look at like Captain America's shield in a different movie and they're like, huh?
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, I get it. Can we keep going with the plot?
See, I don't know. I just like that it all ties together, and I love. I don't know. I feel like. Well, again, I think the whole thing I watched was a Thor movie. So I love some of the moments like when I don't know if it's from Thor Ragnarok or Dark World where
See,
Yeah.
people like me like the Easter eggs. Like
Yeah.
we were like I
Yeah.
read World War Hulk, so like
Yeah.
a lot of it's based off World War Hulk.
Yeah.
But Beta Ray Bill, who's
Yeah.
like this horse.
Yeah, he's in
horse.
the-
He's in the
yeah,
thing. Like
yeah.
when I saw that, I was like, yeah, like
Yeah.
the whole. We're all fans of it. And
Yeah.
then they come out like people that don't read any of the comic books are like, okay,
Yeah. Well, it's like even for the movie they do it like when the Hulk smashes Thor then in like Ragnarok, and then Loki's like, that's what it feels like.
Yeah.
Like that was hilarious.
See, that's
Yeah.
that's movie continuity.
Yeah.
Whereas like the continuity to like the comic books, that Beta
Yeah.
Ray Bill, you're like,
Yeah. Probably the funniest movie or the funniest scene in any of the movies is from that scene. That whole scene is hilarious. Where
From the part where he gets in the rotunda with the
Yeah.
big rock guy with
Yeah.
the blade thing,
that's awesome.
all the way to the
Yeah. but the scene where like the Hulk comes out, it's like yes, and then like the Hulk's beating up, and then he like says to him like, hey, I told them we were friends. You're embarrassing me.
So I used to be when I was younger. I used to be a bigger fan of Led Zeppelin,
Yeah,
but they're so overplayed and like they're so loved. Like I just can't do it anymore. Like I don't want to listen to Led Zeppelin.
yeah,
But the Immigrant Song,
yeah,
when he's fighting Sator and like all those little demon things,
yeah,
it's so
yeah,
good. You know, like it's like you watch it, like even if you hate that song,
yeah.
it's placed so well.
Well, that's the thing. Well, that's one of the things that the Thor movies did better than the other ones. Part of why they're so good is the music choices are perfect for those movies. Like if you think of like Captain America and stuff, like you can't remember any of the music that was in those movies. Like it's just generic like background superhero stuff. Like even like Spider-Man: Homecoming, I thought it was awesome how they in the opening credit they morphed the Avengers theme into like the old Spider-Man theme. I thought it was really cool.
Yeah, Spider-Man: Homecoming, hilarious part where he's like up on the thing, and there's like a guy at like a phone booth and a hot dog,
I
and
know
he
what you're
goes,
talking
that fat comedian guy,
Yeah.
he's in the show Crashing.
Okay.
He's like so deadpan and hilarious,
Yeah.
and his stand-up is so deadpan.
Yeah.
He's like, "Hey, Spider-Man," he's like, "Hey," he's like, "Do a flip," and like he does a flip, like that part, like that, like, and the guy is so like unexcited to see, but he's like, "Hey,
Yeah.
Spider-Man." Do a flip, like he
Yeah.
doesn't care, and throughout the whole movie, like Spider-Man saving people,
Yeah.
and no one, they're like, "Shut up, go away!" Like
Yeah.
like he's just making mistakes, and people were so. Whereas like the DC movies, every time they see like a superhero, everyone's like clapping or they hate him or something like that.
Yeah.
Like and then like the DC movies, like not just Spider Man, but other movies, people like see these heroes and they're like, oh, okay, can you go away now? Like
Well, that's part of what the what one of the things I watched was about about why Spider-Man: Homecoming works so well, and it was and it compared it to well a couple of interesting things. One was that apparently when they're gonna make Homecoming, because this is the second reboot of Spider-Man in the last like 15 years. It's like that's a lot of Spider-Man movies.
yeah, 2000 was the first.
Yeah, and then there
Spider-Man
was
movie.
another one just a few years ago. So
Which Andrew Garfield's an ugly man.
yeah,
Like he's just unlikable.
he was like
in the
35,
face.
wasn't
Yeah.
he? Like I don't know. But apparently they sat down and watched like the first two iterations from recent memory, and like not necessarily said that like they they didn't want to do what they did because they were bad, but basically anything that was done in both movies they didn't do again because they figured people have already seen it twice. So like if you notice, like there's not really any like epic like him swinging around the city scene like they, because that was in the other two movies. So like we're not going to do that.
Yeah, well, we get it.
Yeah, exactly. That was basically their theory. Like people already saw these other things. We're not going to do them again.
One trick pony. Like you don't want to be that.
Yeah. But then, so there's this idea of they kind of compare it to Star Trek, to like Star Trek, like the Next Generation. So the idea that the show was such a long running good show because there were some episodes where they're fighting the Borg, and there's some episodes where people are just like trying to get laid in space. Like it doesn't always have to be this big serious thing. Like you get to know the characters through like just total characterization episodes that don't really advance the plot in any way, or not serious episodes. And then compare that to the Star Trek movies, which are always serious plots. Like it's always some big end of the world sort of thing. So those didn't tend to be as well received. So they sort of like showed, Spider-Man: Homecoming as sort of more the Star Trek movie or Star Trek show thing. Like a lot of the movie is just him like being a teenager. Like you get to see him as a kid
mess up as a hero.
Yeah.
And the big guy in Star Trek Homecoming,
Yeah.
it affected his life.
Yeah,
It
exactly.
didn't like if he got I don't want him to get killed or whatever, but if he got killed or whatever,
Yeah.
it wouldn't affected his it wouldn't affect the bigger picture.
Yeah.
There's the bad guy. Mike Keaton was awesome at it.
Yeah.
The
He's a good, really good villain.
essentially he's a villain,
Yeah.
but he's an American capitalist. He wants
Yeah.
to make money off of things, and like he wants to steal that stuff so he can make more. Like in the big picture, big scheme of things, it wouldn't have affected the rest of the world.
Yeah.
Like that guy, he would have, like Captain America would have just punched him in the face and he would have been fine.
Yeah.
But he's so, at that point, Spider-Man's so inept as a hero
Yeah.
that he'd struggle with him so much.
Yeah. But I do feel like Michael Keaton's villain built on earlier superhero movies though, because I feel like the first big like one of the things that ushers in modern day superhero movies, and I don't know enough about the ones from 20 years ago, which are I guess is probably where like with Blade and like that you would sort of put the cutoff for like modern superhero movies.
Right.
But
It would have to be Blade and Spawn.
yeah, but sort of. I mean, I feel like if you look at the comics or like stuff from like the 60s, 70s, 80s, like villains were like comic book villains. Like they were just evil guys, and I think the thing that, that we sort of know works better nowadays, which Michael Keaton's character is perfect at this, is that idea that like, the villain's the hero in their own story. And I think, Michael Keaton's character is an awesome villain for that, because he really is. He's really not a bad guy. Like he's really, I mean, and in the beginning of the movie, he's a legitimate good guy. And then he like does some shady stuff, but he's still like not a bad guy. Like at any point.
At the end of the day, like, what wouldn't you do for Sam?
Mm-hmm.
Like so he could live.
Exactly. I mean, he's just doing what he thinks is right. I mean, I'm sure, and I think you could tell he's like a little bit conflicted by the end of the day. But I was like,
Up until when Spider-Man like started messing with him,
yeah,
how many people do you think actually got hurt?
yeah, probably. I mean, except for, I mean,
how many people do you think he personally hurt stealing this? No one.
Yeah,
it's just the because he sold guns, right? Or he sold weapons.
So he's really no different than Tony Stark.
Yeah, he sold weapons.
Yeah.
And the people he sold weapons to, if he didn't sell them weapons, they were just going to get other weapons.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, they're going to get weapons. I'm not saying, I'm not justifying him as a good guy, but he's just an arms dealer.
Yeah. Yeah, he's really not a bad guy. I really feel like that's where I think I struggle with Thanos a little bit as a villain. I feel like he's one of the weaker villains, like story-wise. Because like I guess if you really think through it, you kind of like understand what his motivation was, that and they even explain it in Infinity Wars that like he his own home planet was ruined by overcrowding, so he wants to like wipe out half the people or stuff or like everything to like reset the universe. That doesn't happen as quickly, so like you kind of understand it a little bit.
Here's the thing about Thanos, though.
Yeah.
If you think about it, like morally killing half the universe is wrong, but why he's doing it is for the right reasons. Because his planet was wiped out he wanted to wipe out indiscriminately rich, poor, sick, half.
Yeah.
Half.
But to save the other half.
And you know what happened? They all died.
Yeah.
It's like when you think about that, like. What he sees, what he's seen, what his thought process is, he's right.
Yeah.
And then you go, it makes sense. But then when you see it from someone that like, what if one half a whole week Costa leaves?
Yeah. And I mean, especially if we're like for the entertaining half would be an issue.
Yeah, if I like left.
Yeah. But I think the issue with him as a villain is that like you kind of on an intellectual level get it, but like so compared to like Michael Keaton's character, he is, you can kind of understand his stuff. Like I mean, everyone's gotten like screwed over at work, or like everyone has like stuff happening in life that's sort of out of their control, and he's like taking control back. So again, like in a different story, he's like a hero sort of, and you can kind of get it. With Thanos, like you haven't, I mean, hopefully not, at least not yet, haven't been on a planet where like all life was wiped out because of overcrowding. I mean, that could happen eventually to us, but it hasn't happened yet. And you're also not like this, super like godlike powered person. So like it's harder to identify with him. And I mean, I think they do as good a job as you can to make him relatable with his backstory, but it just I don't think it's possible. I don't know.
There is a real life example, and I can't give you exactly because I remember it from years ago. It was a guy.
Yeah.
He's pro gun,
Yeah.
and like he had like tweets and he voted for like pro gun people, and like he was all about it. Then his daughter got killed in a shooting,
Yeah.
and now he's like anti-gun. You know,
Yeah.
like people shouldn't have the guns. Like he gave up all his guns, so it's like he has to live that life that a lot of people are living now, where it's one of their loved ones gets killed by gun, illegal or legal otherwise, like in a shootout
Hmm.
or mass killing or anything.
Yeah.
And he changed like his point of view.
Yeah.
So it's like if your population got killed because of if overcrowding destroyed most of your like civilization,
Yeah.
your point of view might match up with Thanos.
That's what I mean, but I think a lot of people can't identify with it.
Right.
What about Doctor Strange? The villain's there. Because I mean, is the villain really the guy who steals the book, or is it a Mamu, like the
God.
god? Yeah.
It's
I guess it's the guy that steals the book, right? A Mamu's just like
yeah. Dagamu is like or whatever.
I think
his
it's a
name
Mamu, but I'm not 100% sure of that. Duramamu?
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 Yeah, people are going to turn us off now.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's like the guy who steals the book is the villain.
Yeah,
but like he has his own ways because he wants whatever he wants.
yeah.
But then like Duramamu is all they use Duramamu is to show the time stone.
Yeah, he's really just a plot device.
Yeah, he's a plot device to
Yeah.
show how powerful the time stone is because but the villain is Mads Mikkelsen, who really didn't do much, and he's a great actor. He's great in a lot of things.
So I guess that's like a not relatable villain, but
Duramamu. Duramamu?
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, whatever.
But I guess the whole Doctor Strange story shit. I just knocked that way off. I feel like the whole Doctor Strange story isn't super relatable though. I mean, because he's a world-renowned surgeon who then becomes a sorcerer. So there's really not much to identify with a lot in Doctor Strange. I mean, I guess the redemption arc of like, I mean, I guess everyone in life's been like a jerk at some point and then like has turned it around. Hopefully, I mean, certainly any of the Whole Weight Costa listeners have turned it around if they were jerks in the past, but. But I guess a lot of that you can't really identify with anyway. Yeah. But anywho, so one thing Patterson wanted to make, like I said, I feel like this is probably an older topic for some people, but
we're going back to like 10,
we're going
20
way
minutes
back.
ago.
We're going way back.
Yeah.
Is like so I've watched a little bit of the DC stuff recently, and I feel like I've watched more like critique of the DC stuff. Sorry, I'm trying to fix my headphones again. But that's an example of like people who just don't give a fuck about their fans. It's like really what it seems like. Like
they miss the mark every time.
And but it really just again, I think just like a lack of respect. Like they just like completely change characters from movie to movie and just expect, I guess, their dumbass comic fans that don't know any better to like just be fine with it. I guess they just think people just want to see Batman on the screen and swoon and shit, and like that's all they need to do. Which is like really stupid because if anything, people that are like real comic book fans are probably pretty obsessive about it and are gonna like nail you to the wall if like you fuck up, and they just do. Like they just so I finally saw a criticism of so I saw Batman vs Superman like a little bit after it came out, and I thought it was one of the worst movies I've ever seen, and I don't think that's an unpopular opinion. Or anything cutting edge on Whole Weight Costa. But I finally saw like sort of a reason why. Like I saw like what I think is a pretty good critique of it. Which is
before you go,
yeah,
I was talking about this. The movie's terrible, but they have cool parts in the movie.
Yeah,
like they have good scenes. Like the part right before it is where he's like Martha, and he's like my mom's named Martha too. Yeah. That's one of the worst things ever.
Yeah.
But like if he was just like Superman's like before you kill me, can you just save my mom? Like and like that sort of words. But when Batman goes into that warehouse, like he blows up the floor and he pulls like 3 guys down. He like punches and beats people up.
Yeah.
That's like super good Batman.
Yeah.
Like it's super good Batman. You're like, I wish this Batman was surrounded by a good film.
Yeah. But but so they compared it to like the MCU, and and they said that it seems like the way that Marvel writers write movies is they think about who their characters are, and then they make a story that sort of revolves around what those characters as people would do. The main point is characterization, and the plot sort of naturally evolves from what these characters would do in the situations they're in. So it's a really like like care filled way to like make the movies. Again, they give a lot of shits, is what it seems like. Versus it seems like the way the DC movies are made is they have a plot, and then they have an end goal in mind. They have the denouement, if you will, and they just make their characters get there. And like when like whatever the characters have to do to get there, like that's what happens. Like they don't, instead of focusing on the characterization, which is really why people are going to see these movies. If you think about it, I mean, you could, there's a difference between an action movie and an Iron Man movie. You're going to the Iron movie to watch Iron Man, or you're going to a Thor movie to watch Thor, not to necessarily watch what the plot is. And the DC folks don't seem to get that and write a plot and then squeeze their characters into it. And the explanation I saw of Marvel or Batman versus Superman, why it was so terrible, was the idea that they already knew that Batman and Superman had to come together. So essentially the whole movie was about them fighting. But then they also knew that somehow at the end of the movie they had to come together for Justice League. So that's how you ended up with this whole contrived plot to like make them hate each other and fight, and then be like, oh, my mom's name is Martha too, and then like they're best friends because like they just had to put something in to make them friends at the end.
Yeah, I think it's like you're right, and then they're all right. It's terrible the fact that when Captain America got punched in the face by Thanos, and you're like, oh no, or like Thor was getting his head crushed. I'm like, I've grown to love these characters.
Yeah.
Why are they getting hurt?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like, well, Scarlet Witch and Vision, like Vision got killed. I'm like, oh, they didn't give them enough plot. I think those characters belonged in the DC movies,
Yeah.
Like, but
so wait, it's unpopular opinion. Scarlet Witch is hotter than Black Widow.
Get out. Anyway, so you see these characters that you're like, they're so well written, and like they've gone about expositioning their lives or whatever it's called.
Yeah, well, you've seen them grow as characters.
Yeah, you've seen them grow as characters. Like these people, like you get your background character, and they're like they're already awesome, and you're like, oh. So when Superman gets killed at the end of that Dawn of Justice movie, that's the one, right? I was like, because like I know he's coming back. He's Superman. Like you can't have Justice League without Superman. But Captain America got punched. I'm like, no.
Yeah. Well, let's say, and the continuity issue too, like the essentially not giving any shits about the story or fans or whatever. Yeah. So, and this I'm stealing. So most of the other stuff I've said is like, I would say 50-50, like stuff I've watched over the last week and can't credit to anyone versus like my original thoughts. This is just 100% a stolen thought from some dude on YouTube, which maybe we'll credit if I figure who it was.
Thank you, credit it.
Yeah. But their thing was that and I've only seen like basically snippets of the Justice League movie, so this is how this is not my original thought at all. But what he had said, and so you watch it, you can tell me this is true, is the idea that sort of pissed on characterization, that the Batman from Batman vs Superman is a super dark Batman, and then in Justice League he's like a little funny, like he has like one-liners and stuff. So it seems like they just sort of like watched the Marvel movies and were like, oh, people really like that funny Tony Stark, and then they're like, oh, we're gonna make Batman kind of funny because he's a rich guy.
No, there's a reason behind that.
Yeah, what is it?
It is. He was dark.
Yeah.
So Dawn of Justice was written and directed by Zack Snyder, who's generally a dark, like grim kind of guy.
Yeah.
Justice League movie
Yeah.
was written and directed by Zack Snyder.
Yeah.
It was too dark, so they brought in
Oh, yeah.
Joss Whedon
That's
from
right.
the
It was a
Avengers.
mishmash of the
It's
two.
a
Yeah.
mishmash. So half the movie is dark and gritty,
Yeah.
and then like it's real light and fluffy. Like they
Yeah.
like you watch it, you're like, oh my god, you could tell exactly when they changed writers.
Yeah. Apparently, they also I guess they had to reshoot a lot of scenes, and like the guy that played Superman had a mustache,
Yeah, from Mission Impossible, which is going to be a much better movie.
so they had to CGI his mustache out.
Yeah, I noticed it one part, but it wasn't that bad. People made a bigger deal than it
Okay,
was.
okay, and so that was the one. The other was apparently well, yeah, and from Batman vs Superman, people were like ambivalent about. It was sort of the other standard superhero plot. Now that people were ambivalent about how they felt about Superman, and then at the next movie, it's like, oh no, where did Superman go? Like people just forgot their like the populace forgot their motivation even, like between the two movies was Mother Stolen.
They're
Thought.
just not good movies.
Yeah, but what else was I thinking about?
They released a trailer for Aquaman, and like that's like I gotta come back and fight for my family, and you're like, Aquaman, you were fucking terrible in that movie.
Yeah.
Like you were a frat boy, you were a prince,
Yeah.
and you'll probably be a king because your dad will probably get killed.
Yeah.
But like you're a prince, and like you're just a frat boy, and like you're flying through the air, and you're like, whoa, yeah, and it's like, shut up, Aquaman, you're an idiot.
Do you think Aquaman's supposed to be like the DC Thor? Do you think that's what they're trying to do?
No, Aquaman's supposed to be, it's supposed to be named was a mariner.
No,
The Prince.
no. But I'm saying like in the equivalent, like do you think they're trying to like recreate what Marvel did with Thor?
No, because Thor's fun and he
Yeah.
is like a frat boy,
Yeah.
but he's also a prince. You
Yeah.
know, he has royalness about him.
Yeah.
And he knows it, and he walks around like that.
Yeah.
And he believes he's the greatest. He's the most handsome. He's the best fighter. Like he is that guy. Like he looks in the mirror. Like he is the embodiment of a prince.
Yeah.
Where Aquaman is literally just a frat boy.
Yeah.
Like
alright.
like Aquaman and someone from Teak could hang out,
Yeah.
and like you wouldn't even know. And it's like they just missed the mark. Like if he was Thor, like they should have made him like chest puffed out.
Yeah.
Like don't like Batman talks to him, and he's like, I don't care how rich you are. I'm literally a king.
Yeah. Well, I mean, do you think to a DC writer they think they're the same thing?
I think to a DC writer, they wanted to make that equivalent, but like
Yeah.
more fun and like
Yeah.
more rowdy. But you missed the mark. You're just a frat boy. It's like you gave superpowers to like a frat boy.
One other video I thought was interesting, and I'll summarize it briefly because it sort of fits in this conversation. Was this dude, and I'll try to find at least for YouTube who the people were. Maybe we can link them. I'm sure they have in my recent history on YouTube. I can find the videos. They talk about they compare Thor Ragnarok to shit, I can't think of it. Oh, they compare Thor Ragnarok to The Last Jedi. Regarding comedy. And they sort of point out that Thor is just a comedy movie. So it's funny. Like it works well. And he goes in a lot of detail about like why Thor's comedy works basically compared to like The Last Jedi, who employed a lot of bathos. So like the idea that like you break up like a serious scene with a funny moment to like relieve the tension, but they just like battered the door down with it. Like every serious moment has to have a joke in it, like in The Last Jedi, which I didn't really. I like The Last Jedi, but like of course now that I've heard this whole argument about it, like I want to think about it a little bit if I watch the movie again.
Dude, the part where Rey comes
Yeah.
up the mountain
Mhm.
and she hands Luke Skywalker the lightsaber,
Mm.
and he like tosses it behind him.
Yeah,
That was fucking hilarious. Like
yeah,
like he just like that set the tone of the movie for me. Like I was
Yeah.
like, that's a great scene. But what I didn't like is later on in the movie he goes, like it's almost like he's breaking the fourth wall. Like I've never heard the word laser sword or laser
yeah.
in the entire franchise.
Yeah.
And he goes, what do you want me to do? Take on the first Union?
First Order.
First Order with a laser sword?
Yeah,
And you're like, oh, lightsaber. We'll just say lightsaber.
yeah. No, some of the one example he used was like when it's like when it's Ray and then Kylo Ren's there and they're facing off against the big headed guy.
Yeah.
His name I can't remember. Snoke, yeah. And so it's like the big climactic dramatic scene of the entire movie, and then she goes to like force something and it just flies over her head and it's like ha ha, like it was funny, but like it's the climax of the movie. Like he didn't even joke there.
It was just terrible. It was terrible. And then someone who's not trained, it's again like the comic book or like book readers versus the movies. Those Imperial guards or whatever, they're the best of the best. Like they went 1-on-1 with Darth Vader.
Yeah.
And if they survived, they became a Imperial guard.
Huh.
Like that's their backstory.
Yeah.
And Rey, who's never held a lightsaber before,
Yeah.
is like, oh, I'm gonna fight these with Kylo.
Yeah. Well, that's sort of what I don't know. Do we ever talk about, just totally unrelated to this? Thinking of a good villain. The traitor stormtrooper in episode 7. Do you ever talk about him?
No.
He is the guy. There was a bunch of memes about him when the movie came out. He is the guy that when they're fighting, wherever they're fighting, and Finn goes to like run off, and he goes, "Stop, traitor!" And he has this badass like with Finn with like a lightsaber and him with like a rally baton.
The baton, yeah.
So, but there was this whole like cult of this guy for a little while. They're basically like he's like the most pure hero in the movie. Because, to him, Finn's a traitor. He serves the First Order. His job is to serve the First Order. And no fucking traitor is going to walk away from him. He's going to kick Finn's ass because Finn betrayed him.
Right.
And
he's drank the Kool-Aid.
Yeah, but it's just pure motivation. Like he has the most pure motivation of anyone in the movie. And but then like he was held up too as like the perfect villain because again, in his story, he's the hero. He's stopping the traitor, But in our story, he's a stormtrooper. He's a bad guy, but he's not to him. He's doing the absolute pure right thing by stopping Finn.
Right. It's just
and then he just gets shot in the side or something by like another character.
Yeah, but like you're the main character of your own story.
Yeah. Well, exactly. So that's why. So he's like one of the more powerful like side characters in like a Star Wars movie because of just how much conviction this guy had in his like 2 lines of dialogue. It was like awesome.
What's it called? You haven't read it, obviously.
Yeah.
Neither have I. But I watched the HBO movie Fahrenheit 451.
Yeah,
it's where they burn books and everything.
I've heard of it.
Yeah. So the main guy Montag, who's Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah.
They Michael. You know Michael Shannon, right?
Yeah, who's that?
Michael Shannon, he's an actor.
Michael B. Jordan's really good though.
Yeah, Michael Shannon's really good too. But like he's like trained him his whole life and everything. No one's allowed to read books.
Yeah.
And like Michael B. Jordan, Montag's gonna leave the firemen, the fire brigade, and they help the rebels so they could save the books and everything. And Michael Shannon like feels betrayed because like he's drank the Kool-Aid. He thinks that like it should be done, but like secretly no one knows. Like he covers up his like personal spy or whatever, and he has a pen and paper and he's writing stuff. And you're like, oh shit, and like he makes Montag read something, and like for part of it he mimes what he's reading. Like he's already read what he's read, so like it's a really cool scene.
Yeah.
And he like it's like the same character. Like he is the good guy. You know what I mean? Even though he's breaking the law and he's a total hypocrite, he in his own story is the good guy. And he just he feels betrayed by this guy he's trained, but like through flashbacks and like partial memories, he's the guy who's killed Montag's father.
Huh, okay.
It's a crazy good movie.
Yeah.
I guess the book's better, but I'm never gonna read it.
Yeah, no.
So he's the hero of his story. Like he's drank the Kool-Aid and people like love him.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I wish I could. I feel like I feel like those are the characters I'm always drawn to because I wish I had like that sort of conviction in life that like what I was doing ever was like the right thing. or like to have like an organization that like you really believe in or something where like whatever's right. I don't know. I guess being like I guess being a sports fan's like the closest you really have to that. Like for most people, like if you're really like if your team's doing well and like you're really like believe they're gonna win every day or every week or whatever sport it is. Um, but other than that, I mean, I feel like that's really what we don't get much in life at this anymore. Like, I mean, I don't know a lot of people that are real religious. Like, you don't have that to fall back on. Um, like, I mean, most people, you know, I mean, even people that like their jobs, like I'm sure see things wrong with like their company or like people higher up or whatever. Like, there just isn't like a lot of times in life where you can just really like believe in like a cause or like really doing the right thing. I don't know. So I feel like I'm always drawn towards those characters. Like, I mean, that's like, I mean, I guess especially like the
I guess like for me knowing you
yeah,
and everything, I guess like your conviction would be Sam.
yeah,
Like it doesn't matter like what I asked you or anybody asked you. Like if it's a Tuesday or a Thursday
yeah,
or it's a Sam weekend, like look, I can't do it. I have Sam.
yeah,
Like or if it's like something family stuff, like well Sam's coming. You know, I
yeah,
think that's where your conviction is. Like,
yeah,
and that's good. Like I'm like proud and I'm like happy that that's where your conviction is. Like,
yeah,
so I don't just my opinion. I don't think you really need much of a conviction every like for everything because everything that you do is usually tied to that conviction for Sam.
yeah,
Like you show up to work every day for to pay for your house and everything. But if you don't have that job,
yeah,
you can't pay child support for Sam.
yeah,
You can't take Sam to pumpkin eating. You
yeah,
can't take you can't do it. So everything is like related to that Sam thing. So I
yeah,
wouldn't say that you want to have that conviction,
yeah,
but I don't think you have a conviction to a cause that other people can relate to.
yeah,
All you just have a conviction to your personal self.
yeah. Well, I guess that's true, and I guess yeah, I guess maybe that's why I haven't been as drawn to this recently. I never really thought about it, but like I was always traditionally drawn to like and sort of like the zealot in the story, or like the lawful neutral or lawful evil character. I was always really drawn to. Um, that like the like Stannis Baratheon, I was always drawn to, who like is absolutely doing the what he's doing is the only thing he can do. Like there's no other path.
Real
Like
quick, can we talk about the thing we talked about in the car before we're done about James Gunn?
oh yeah, yeah, we have to talk about that.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's ridiculous. So anyone doesn't know, James Gunn, like everyone alive 10 years ago, said some offensive stuff.
On tweets, which were I read a couple, which were actually kind of funny.
So some Twitter troll who also tweets super offensive stuff himself got real butthurt that James Gunn, as an American, used his free speech to say stuff about Donald Trump, and then basically tried to destroy his career by dredging up all these super old tweets. And in one of the most short-sighted moves I've ever seen by a major company, Disney basically fired him from making the third Guardians of the Galaxy movie. Also, like a week after he finished the script for it, which is the shittiest thing. Which is they made it even shittier. Um, and I just don't understand it. Because first off, everyone's done shit that they're not proud of in the past. I really hope there's a counter campaign for all these Disney executives that made this decision, that people drag shit up from their past and like ruin their lives, because it's absolute bullshit to do this to someone.
It is disgusting.
Um, but then like not only that, but I don't understand the reason for it, because I mean until the story that they were firing him, I never heard about any of this. I didn't hear any outrage that James Gunn was working on the third Guardians of the Galaxy movie, despite the fact that he said offensive stuff 10 years ago. But there is outrage now. So what was the point? Like the companies do stuff like this to help to like not hurt themselves, to like not be associated with someone they don't want to be associated with. But they're definitively going to lose more fans and piss more people off by getting rid of them than keeping them. It doesn't make any sense from any perspective.
I just don't get why people don't realize like you change a lot in 10 years.
Yeah.
I'll just put an example, just a quick example, unrelated to this example.
Yeah.
When I was 9 years old,
Yeah.
yo-yos were the shit. I would play with yo-yos for an hour. When I was 19, for part of my life, I was living in a car.
Yeah.
So, I didn't even know what a yo-yo was. You know, so it's like that's how much like 10 years can change a person.
I mean, I'm 34 now. I would say probably most of my worldview when I was 24 would probably embarrass me now. I mean, I can think of like definitive things like right now off the top of my head that I like cringe at now that I did like in my 20s.
Yeah.
And I'm not even talking about like major stuff I did wrong, just like just random moments like I could think of that were just like I don't understand why I would ever do them. And like I mean, it's just insane. I mean, how old is James Gunn? Is he? I assume he's like
Probably 40s.
Yeah, I assume he's maybe like our age or a little older. So yeah, look it up, see. Because I'm really curious. Because especially if he's like not that old, then obviously he did shit when he was younger that like he isn't like super proud of.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Oh, hold on. James Gunn.
I'm usually not a fan of looking up stuff on the podcast, but this is an important point.
And a lot of the actors, including Chris Pratt, came out to like defend him.
Yeah.
Chris Pratt or James Gunn, age 51.
Okay, so he's a little older. So
Yeah.
I mean, probably by his 40s, he should have got his shit together. But
Yeah.
but still, I mean,
also you have
yeah.
to look at his filmography, shit he's made before that.
Yeah.
It was a schlock fest.
Yeah.
Like he made immature films because that's what he did.
So so he was around a certain group of people and stuff that he probably acted a certain way. I don't know.
But after 10 years and like 4 years of making arguably two of the like funniest, like most heartfelt films in the last 10 years,
Yeah.
you would think that like people would go, okay, he's made a lot of people happy.
Yeah. Well, and it makes me sad too because like so I feel like now, you know, I don't know, and like I feel like there's always going to be some new thing, whatever. So I guess I'm not too worried about it, but it kind of makes you sad, like. So, and I know they're planning Marvel stuff for years to come, but like eventually it's going to come to an end. Like we're at the very least like in the middle of it now. Like I mean, even if there's another 10 more years of Marvel stuff, like we're at least halfway through.
Yeah. He got and the fucked up thing is he got penalized for tweets from 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, ABC did fire Roseanne for racist tweets.
Like that happened yesterday.
Yeah. She made tweets and within like hours she was fired.
Yeah. But so I mean, at the very least, we're like halfway through the Marvel stuff. It makes you kind of sad because eventually it's going to come to an end. You know, just like we're at the tail end of Game of Thrones and stuff makes me kind of sad because that was part of my life for a long time. But it makes you sadder because like it's one thing. So if these stories come to their eventual conclusions, like kind of hope that's how it happens. Like the stories come to their eventual conclusions, and then they just everyone sort of walks away. But I mean, more realistically, because that's what's going to happen with Game of Thrones. But like more realistically. Like it's going to be more of a thing where, the movies become less popular and then they just, peter out at some point. But it's shit like this that's going to make that happen. Like it's like petty, like real world bullshit. Like taking the director who's made 2 movies and substituting in a new director for the 3rd movie. And if it's an inferior movie, it's gonna be a huge backlash, and like that's the stuff that's ultimately going to kill like the current Marvel like dominance.
Also, with his popularity, in a couple months, no one's going to give a shit.
Yeah.
With his popularity, he's going to make a movie. It's going to make $1 bajillion.
Yeah.
Because like he's proven he can write and direct.
Yeah. I don't know. I hope we were talking about this in the car. I hope he retains the rights to the script that he wrote, and can make like I don't know. Like I don't know what a good title would be, but like Thor's like the Revengers, like I hope he makes something like that. Yeah. I don't know.
I think it'll be all right because it's all union.
Yeah.
So he's got that. Yeah.
But I just really think they're gonna reverse. I mean, they have to reverse the decision. It's too insane of a decision.
Right.
I don't know. What I guess what worries me is that they don't do it just like they're not short-sighted to do some DC bullshit and bring somebody else in, and then when the movie sucks, like
bring him back
with 6 months left to film and bring him back and have to reshoot all this stuff. Like, yeah. I mean, that's the stuff that could eventually kill kill the DC trend. But sorry, the Marvel trend. I mean, they've had some bad movies. Like you said, Age of Ultron wasn't that well
It
received.
wasn't that good.
But even that, I think, has like a
And
75% score, like
yeah.
on the Rotten Tomatoes and stuff.
Ant-Man was all right too.
Yeah.
But
I was kind of surprised. That's my other story. So we, Ant-Man came out a couple weeks ago. We didn't see it. And then I really wanted to go to the movies this weekend. So I was trying to talk Sam into it because obviously loves all the Marvel stuff, but like he really hasn't watched any of the Ant-Man stuff. And like from what I've heard, it's not that worth seeing in the movies. So I kept showing him trailers, like it's just like the Ant-Man and Wasp trailers. Like, do you want to go see this movie? He's like, no, and like you're just hard set. Like, no, I don't want to see it. But we ended up seeing a different movie on Sunday morning. We saw Mamma Mia. Here we go again.
was it good?
So we saw it because and I feel like I've been explaining this to people like all day because I feel like people were a little judgy about taking like a kid to like Mamma Mia because like it's not really like it's not that it's it's not an inappropriate movie in any way. It's like but it's not like really a kid movie. But to be fair, he watched like a lot of The Greatest Showman. Like he's seen other musicals. Like he likes just the singing and stuff. So the movie wasn't that good, and especially for me who really didn't watch the first. Like I know the premise and I've seen parts of it, but like I didn't get for half the movie that it was supposed to be flashbacks, and I found out after the movie my mom never got it. Like after the movie, she's basically like, oh, they didn't even know who the father was, and I'm like no, those were flat. That was a whole nother story. She's like, what are you talking about? It was that girl's story. I'm like, no, they were two different actresses playing two different stories out simultaneously. Like she didn't get it at all.
I don't feel like I'll ever get it.
Yeah. But so I feel like if you're a big Mamma Mia fan, you probably liked it a little more, but Sam in about halfway through the movie, then he definitely got bored. But I think the rest of us also got bored halfway through. So it wasn't about taking a 3-year-old to like a more adult movie. It was just the movie was not that interesting. But so my last part of the story before we wrap up is, we got him laid up sneakers the day before. And I kind of had thought in my head, like, maybe this isn't the best for the movie theater, but he was really excited about them. So he wore them. So we watched about half the movie. And then he realized he could light up his sneakers in a dark movie theater. So he starts like banging him on a seat. So we're in like the reclining seats. So I put up the armrest. I like pull him over. And I'm like, Sam, you can't. It's going to annoy everybody else. You can't light up your sneakers. He's like, okay. And like 5 minutes go by and he starts doing it again. So I like grab his legs. And then so now in the middle of the movie, we have this 3-year-old laughing hysterically because he's trying to light up the sneakers and he thinks it's hilarious. I'm trying to stop him. So then I finally calmed down from that. So we probably already pissed off everyone around us between the light up sneakers and now a 3-year-old laughing for like a couple minutes. So then for like 20 minutes for like towards the end of the movie, like I have my arm around him and I have my leg over his leg and I basically have him like in a bear hug, like to keep from lighting up his sneakers. So now everyone around us gets 20 minutes of as like Sam tries to struggle free.
Why didn't you just take his shoes off?
I thought about it, but I kind of thought that was going to piss him off. Then we're going to have to actually walk out.
Oh, okay.
And I was trying to get through the movie. So then like he goes. So like finally, I let him go, and then he walks over to Kelly and he sits with her for a couple minutes. Then he walks back and sits next to me and just sits down and crosses his arms and just looks pissed off. So I'm like, okay, well, at least not lighting his shoes up. So, but I figure like Kelly yelled at him or something like, Sam, you gotta stop doing that. But then after the movie, Kelly walks over and she's like, oh, Sam, what's wrong? Because she didn't yell at him. And then Sam's like, Daddy trapped me. He was pissed off that I trapped him. He's like, Daddy trapped me. He wouldn't let me go. So.
Well, that's what you get with a 3-year-old.
Yeah.
So. All right, that's it for this week's Whole Wheat Costa. Thanks for listening in.